understanding faith. If you want to know a man of God, the content, the quality, then how sharp spiritually that man of God is, the best subject that you can ask him to teach is the subject of faith. That is, if a man of God does not hit it right on the subject of faith, he is not likely to hit it right on any other subject. It is the acid test. You know, in Mark chapter 4, Jesus made a statement when he talked about the parable of the sower. This is what he said when he was interpreting it to the disciples. Around that verses 11 and 12. He said, "You don't understand this parable. How will you understand any other parable?" That is, the parable of the sower unlocks other parables. The subject of faith explains the understanding of other subjects. So if you see anyone that is not a sharpshooter on the subject of faith, I will be hesitant to follow him on any other subject, because the subject of faith is the acid test for every other subject. If you don't hit it right there, you won't hit it right in any other. The subject of faith is very important. Pastor, why do we study the subject of faith? Is it that important? Number one, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1 says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Verse 6 says, "But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that comes to God must first believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him." The Bible says God even requests faith from the unbeliever, because he said, "Whoever will come unto him." Whosoever will come unto, that's talking about sinners. So God even expects sinners to believe. How much more his own? But look at what he says. "But without faith it is impossible to please him." If men were given the opportunity to write the Bible, do you know that we are not likely to say it like that? We will naturally be prone to say, without holiness it's impossible to please him. But it says without faith. Why is that, Pastor? The reason is because God is purely God of faith. That is who he is. He is a God of faith. You can't please him any other way. Give all your money, empty your bank account for the sake of the gospel. If you do not do it in faith, it is meaningless. That is how much God is a God of faith. He is a God of faith. You can't please him any other way. One interesting thing is this. We are going to get to it in the course of our teachings. Do you know that in Romans chapter 4, the Bible says God calls the things which be not as though they were? In explaining God's kind of operations of faith, he says God calls the things which be not as though they were. He had already been calling Abraham the father of many nations before he had his firstborn. He has been calling Abraham the father of many nations before he had Isaac. He calls the things which be not as though they were. In the context of Hebrews 11:6, you know how that one will sound. But you cannot please God without calling things which be not as though they were. Interesting. You can't please God without calling things which be not as though they were. That is faith. So you can't please God without faith. Why is the subject of faith important, Pastor? The subject of faith is important because faith is the heavenly currency that is being spent in order to receive blessings from heaven. Anything you need from heaven, you use something as exchange for it. Faith is that thing. Look at the earth. Money on earth. Anything that is more important than money or greater than money on earth. Why? Because it's a function of quantity. When you have enough quantity of money, it will be equivalent to that thing, since money is the means of exchange on earth. The way money is what you need to exchange for what you need on earth, faith is what you need to exchange for what you need in heaven. When we want to import things of heaven on the earth, what do we take along? It is faith. This is one of the reasons why, as the minister of God, you need to import, how to make available blessings of heaven to the reach of everyone on the earth. But we are in the earth with them, but our means of exchange is faith. It is faith that we take there to make available what they need. So you will now see that both the ministers and the needy require this faith. Whenever you have a need, it is faith that you really need. Do you know the reason why you are living this measure of life, of quality of life? It's because of your faith. Sometimes they asked Jesus and they said, why couldn't we cast out the devil? And Jesus said, it is because of your faith. It is because of your faith. The reason why you are living this level of life is because of your faith. The reason why you are commanding this circumference of finance is